Hey YouTube. Firstly, sorry I didn't get my update up as soon as I would have liked. It's like a couple of days late, so sorry about that. But first of all, I would like to say thank you to all my subscribers. I didn't expect any subscribers actually, so I'm very grateful, and I'm really happy that there is someone out there listening to what I have to say. Okay, so today I told you guys that I was going to tell you a little bit about my story and, you know, how I got to where I am. Okay, so in end of 2009, December 2009, I actually got pregnant. My husband and I had been trying for such a long time. I've been trying for a year, and we were thinking, you know, we should be pregnant by now. We're both young, we both exercise and have a healthy diet. You know, we should be pregnant by now. And we had an appointment scheduled for the doctor, you know, just to go get checkups and, you know, see if everything's okay. And just before the doctor's appointment, actually, I found out I was pregnant. So that was good. We were so happy, we were so ecstatic, and we thought, okay, we're not going to tell anybody. We did end up telling his mum and my mum only, just those two. So yeah, I was really excited, I was over the moon, and I thought, okay, now I need a midwife. So I went and got a midwife, and I was really early. I was just coming up to about 5 weeks when I had my first midwife appointment, and I went to see her, and she gave me, you know, she took my blood pressure. You know, you pee in this cup thing, and she does this dipstick thing, and it was strange because she took my blood pressure and it was 148 over 88 or something like that, and for me, for my age, that is actually pretty high. That's not normal. But then she dismissed it, saying, you know, pregnant women get higher blood pressure. And also in my urine there was protein, and she said, oh, you know, pregnant women have discharge, and that's, you know, quite high in protein, and that could be causing it, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And I thought, oh, okay. So anyway, she gave me a blood form and a referral to go have a scan. So I went and did that. I had my bloods taken, and I went for my scan. Like the same day, and the next day she called me up and she said, your iron is really low. Do you have, you know, do you have anemia, or is there anything in your family about anemia? And I said, yeah, well, on my mum's side, they actually have anemia in the family, and they just give them iron tablets, and, you know, they're fine. So she said, okay, well, I'm just going to refer you to GP, your, you know, doctor, just to make sure everything's okay. I went to my doctor, and she ordered some more blood tests for me, you know, liver function, kidney function, thyroids, all those things. I went and got another blood test done, and the very next day, I got like the worst call of my life. The doctor called me up and she said, listen, this is at about maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, 7, 8. He said, listen, you need to come into my office as soon as possible. Bring a support person with you, and yeah, just come in as soon as possible. There's something wrong with your kidneys. And I thought, oh my goodness, oh no. I called up my mum, of course, because my husband was at work, and we weren't married then yet, but yeah, I called up my mum, and we went into the doctor's, and she said to me, okay, you need to go straight away to the emergency department at the hospital, at Auckland Hospital, and you need to give them this. And as she was saying that to me, she was typing up a letter, and she gave me the blood for, you know, the results from the bloods. And she said, take this with you, go straight to the Auckland Hospital, pack a bag, you might be staying overnight. And I thought, what's wrong, you know, what's happening? And she said, there's something wrong with your kidneys. She said, they'll explain it further when you get there. And I said, okay. So I went to my house, and in the car, and I got clothes and stuff, and my mum and I were just panicking. No one else knew I was pregnant at this time, just my mum and I and my husband's mum. We packed our bags and then we went to hospital, and in the car I opened my blood results and I had a look. Now, for your kidneys, they measure the function. It's called the GFR, and it's general filtration rate, and that is supposed to be around between I think 80 and 130 mils per minute, or per second, sorry. And mine was 8. So essentially my kidneys were functioning at 8%. And I was like, this is not right, this can't be happening. And below it, it sort of said end stage renal failure. And I thought, my gosh, and I started crying in the car hysterically. Anyway, we got to the hospital and I went to the emergency department. I didn't have to wait, they put me straight through, which was quite cool. I didn't have to wait. And I saw like the nurses, they took my blood pressure, took some notes, my obs and stuff, and then I got put into this room. It wasn't a proper room, like a hospital room with a bed and stuff. It was just like a consultant room. And then a nephrologist and another renal consultant came in and saw us. By this time my mum had already phoned my dad and told him what was going on. I thought he'd be hysterical, he's normally the really protective, overprotective kind of dad. I thought he'd be so mad, but he was so supportive. He just came in and said, you're one of us, you're gonna make it through, don't worry, we're all here for you. And I was just so happy that he was like that. Anyway, so the lead nephrologist and another renal consultant came and saw me and my mum, and I really liked her because she didn't beat around the bush. She just told me straight, this is what it is, this is how it's going to happen. What she said was, from your blood results that we have taken twice now, you have end-stage renal failure. And at this stage, I would strongly advise you to terminate the pregnancy, and I would work you up for a kidney transplant. And I thought, my heart just sank. I started crying hysterically. I just went nuts. And I said, no, you have to do the blood test again. You have to test again. You have to do scans of my kidneys and see, can this be reversed and all that. And she said to me, it's not acute, it's chronic. So acute means it just suddenly happened, and chronic means it's been happening over a period of time. And mine was happening over a period of time. I was diagnosed with renal nephropathy, where the urine goes back up into the kidneys. It's a birth defect for me because, in your bladder, the ureter comes down from your kidney, and where the ureter meets your bladder, there's a little sphincter there. So when you go toilet, that closes tight so that the urine can't backflow into the kidneys. For me, that was defective from birth. So, so that's been happening over a long time. My kidneys have just been declining, and now they're at 8%. If I hadn't gotten pregnant, it would have been all over for me. I just would have collapsed one day and just, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't gotten pregnant. And anyway, I said to the doctor, now, is there any other option? We've been trying for a year to get pregnant. And she told me, it's a miracle that you got pregnant, because people with end-stage renal failure do not get pregnant. It's like 0 fertility, 0% chance that you do get pregnant when you have renal failure. And she said, I can't believe you're still running every day and working every day at the function your kidneys are at right now. You should be in hospital dying on a bed. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I asked her, is there anything else? And she said, well, the only other option would be putting you on dialysis, like intensive dialysis, you know, and you'd be in hospital most of the time. Your survival rate would be, you'd have like I'd have a 30% chance of dying. The baby would most definitely be born early. It would have defects, it would have developmental issues, it would just, you know, it'd just be a bad outcome. So I said, I have to talk to my husband, you know, I have to talk to him. And yeah, and he came round. I had to stay overnight, and he came round that night, and we had a talk, and we made our decision. Right, my video is getting really long, so I'm going to leave it there for now. I'll tell you what happens after the next day, when we meet the doctors again. Yeah, so sorry for the long blabbing video, but I just really wanted to tell you guys how this all started. I'll make another one probably Monday, so because I'm really busy at the moment with work. I work 3 different jobs actually. So I help my husband in our business. I'm an SEO writer, and I work with kids. I look after kids, you know, holiday programs and after school care and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday morning. Bye for now.